It's on you, Kelly.
Yo, happy Thursday. All right, PDP Productions, your personal development team. I'm Kelly Chiasson, joined by my partners and friends and people that I love so much, Samantha Glass and Dr. Lester Bailey. So we are coming to you today. We're going to talk about when you realize that something you've been introduced to, you didn't know you needed it your entire life. And what does that look like? I know everyone has at least one example that's extremely conservative. Whether it's maybe you get introduced to this fabulous waffle iron that makes making muffins and breakfast fun for your kids, and you're like, obviously, I've needed this my whole mom life. But whatever, it could be you're turning into us. And depending on the topics that we're covering in personal development, you realize, I can visualize that. I can relate to that. I'm aligned with that. I have needed discussions like this my whole life. So there's a number of directions this can be taken, but I think the knowing that our lives can change by one simple thing. And it's not going to be only one thing for our whole lives and our life's journey, but multiple things. And knowing how incredible our lives can be when we choose to say yes to something new, be it an opportunity, an item that makes something in your schedule just a little lighter, tools of self-thought, self-advocacy, self-development, be it planners and journals, calendars. Lester, I know, has a couple of them. Whatever that may be. But it's things like that make us, without thinking about it, once we introduce whatever this is into our present, into what we have currently going on, it's amazing how much more happier we become, like instantly. That grows our confidence. It grows our characters, our feelings about people, about things, about our schedules, about our habits, what decisions we're making day in and day out. And that understanding and that acceptance of what has been an improvement in how we're living, how we're choosing to live, what that does for us. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Bailey here, Lester, but it's amazing. We talk about we receive what we put out. So when we say yes and we welcome something into our lives, and then we realize all of the ways in which we benefit from it, where the hell has this been for like forever? Why did this take so long? Instead of why did it take so long, maybe understanding we weren't ready for it. It wasn't meant for us at any other time. It could have been, depending on what it was, we were introduced to it. The door was open to that at one point in time. We just didn't recognize it to take advantage of the value that it would serve us in our lives or in our life's purpose. I like this idea. I think as growth-minded individuals, we're always, for me, I know my partners would agree, our journey is ever evolving. So we're never staying in one place. So since we're continuing to grow, the number of events and circumstances and tools and skills that are going to sharpen our ability to really live our life to its fullest and put us in a position, put ourselves in a position to really serve at our highest level. There's always going to be opportunities that will grow our positive view of ourselves and of others. It will grow our encouragement of ourselves and others, and will grow the example that we live out for ourselves and for others. Lester.
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Whoa.
So many times we talk about the things that we're ready for, but we don't know if we're ready. We go after so many things that we have to have immediately, if not sooner. And we don't know how to put it together. There in life, we always find out that we either need a teacher, a coach, a mentor, or just an inspirer. I've liked all the things that Kelly has said, but it really leads back to who will help you to do your very best. Because the efforts of ourselves are great, but you can only go so far by yourself. I mean, we all know that you can turn around and get out there, start your car in the morning, keep that car going and going and going until you run out of gas. Then what do you do? If it's not like, you're standing there and say, okay, let me put my arm out here. I'm gonna put it in the gas tank and the gas is gonna flow from my body. That's not how that works. First thing that you do, you pick up a telephone, a cell phone, whatever communicative device that you have, and you let somebody know, listen, I've done something so stupid that I've ran out of gas and I need your help. How many times have you needed someone's help, but you didn't want to call out to anybody, but now you have no choice? When you run out of it, say, I need it, I need it, I need it. But when you run out of it and you call that person and they start telling you why you should have done it this way, and all you say is, I know, I know, I know, which is the biggest lie, because if you knew, you wouldn't have done it in the first place.
Ah, touche.
We know how it is, but what is it that you're guiding for in life? Who are the people who are going to get you to that step? Leveling up sounds so good. How many times have people said, level up, level up, level up? You've heard the song, you've danced to it, you sung to it. But the only thing that you have done is stayed in the same place in that comfort zone and you've not moved. When we're talking about personal development means that you're developing something that you don't normally use the way it can use best. When you're standing on the stages of life and you want somebody to know that you have something to say, but you can't write down a sentence, you have to have a muse. Somebody has to be able to say, listen, I can't say this well, but you can. You can move. You look at each one of us. 4 years ago, I can guarantee you, neither one of us were thinking about writing a book. But yet, each and every one of us are an international best-selling author. How do we get there? See, if you never ask us, then you'll never know that we have done that because you didn't think that you needed the help. You thought that I can get there all by myself. I'm gonna go out here and write a book and I'm gonna produce it, and everybody's going to read my book. It's going to be a best-selling book. First of all, how do you write? How do you get somebody to get past the first sentence? Because every writer knows that the first sentence of that book, the first few words of that book, the first page of that book is the hardest to write. And if you don't do well, most people will not read past the first page or the first chapter. We talk about one of our favorite books, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We
Yes.
love this particular book. We learned after reading it several times aloud and explaining it to people, and most people have never read past the first chapter. But yet they wanted a teacher. They wanted to know how to gain their dreams and goals of life, but they've had no discipline in order to get there. See, what a coach does, a coach gives you that discipline. A coach pushes you beyond your own measure. You know that you need it. Are you ready for it? And what will you do next? Professor Glass, let's expound on this theory here, or at least the topic of the day.
So I'm thinking of this from a perspective. It's a very hard topic for me to discuss because I was trying to figure out what are things that I needed or I didn't realize that I needed. And then when I got them, I was like, what the heck was I waiting for? It's very, very hard being an individual that's always doing for somebody else or other people, that I was trying to figure out what do I need? And so I'm struggling with this topic. It's a great topic, but it is not easy. And I think that after the show, I'm going to have to sit and do some self-reflection, because with personal development, that's what this is about. It's about us, right? It's about you as the individual. personally, not about everybody else, right? So I find it very hard to talk about. I'm just trying to think, what are things that I love? What are things that I've done that I wish I had done sooner, and why didn't I do them sooner? And I think
Wrestling,
sorry,
wrestling.
yeah, I was going to talk about my body
The
color.
lethal paralegal into the ring.
Well, look, yeah,
I'm a
that's right.
lawyer.
Yeah, that's true. See, and it's hard to talk about it. So I'm just thinking, definitely, my career, I didn't know that I wanted it. And then when I started to go to school, I was like, what the heck? Why did I do all these other diplomas? But I was guessing. I didn't know what I wanted. And I think about my son now, who's going to be going into high school next year, who is not sure. Like, he thinks he knows what he wants to do, but he's not sure. And my advice was, take some risks, right? Because if you don't know, you have to try, you have to start somewhere. But absolutely, my career was one of those things that I wasn't sure if I was going to stick to it. I wasn't sure that I needed it. And I always say, do I need it or do I want it? What is the difference here? And this was one of those things that we're talking about going on 11 years that I'm still here and I'm still doing the same thing. And it's hard to reflect. So I don't know, my suggestion, like I said, I'm going to do this after the show, is to sit with myself and think of other things that I shouldn't have waited so long to do, and try to figure out why. And I think the why is fear. I was always afraid that if I did something, I would fail, and that failing was a bad thing. Right. And I used to always say that to myself. I'd hype myself up. Oh, I'm going to fail this. Why should I bother? Well, I'm going to fail that. Why should I bother? And so I would procrastinate and not even step out of my comfort zone to figure out what I needed in my life. And I'm sure everybody experiences. So I'll tell you, a lot of the things that I've done, I look at it now and I'm like, my gosh, I didn't realize how much I needed this. I needed this because this is who you are, right? These things that you do, these milestones that you take, when you realize how much you needed it, you say, oh my gosh, this is me. This is my foundation. This is who I am. This is my why, right? Not an easy formula. It's almost like a matrix of information that's out there to figure it out, but you have to start somewhere. So you take risks. So this is such an interesting topic, but it's not an easy one for me to talk about. So if you're watching, and thanks to all that are watching, I can see you guys during the chat. Please let us know, what is something that you needed? And when you didn't realize you needed it until you had it, and what has it done for you? Post that in the chat here on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching us from. And don't forget to share, subscribe, like, comment, and whatever you can do, because look, we're going to keep coming back and talking about these really important topics that sometimes people don't want to talk about.
I like what Samantha is saying here. And this is one of the funniest things. She says she didn't know, she knew that I don't know that I have fear. I don't know that I procrastinate. I don't know that you said faith. I'm sorry, you said fear, procrastination, and doubt.
All of them.
Ugly cousins.
Yeah, I had them all.
But yet you didn't know that you needed to pass it. Just to kind of share a story here, before, Professor here got into personal development, she didn't know that she needed it until she got into the game of listening to it. Then the next thing that she didn't know, that she was going to be a part of it, where she can start sharing the stories about what it took for her to get to different levels of life. We all want to get there, but it's like, ooh. So I always beg the question, and I'm gonna give this back over to our mompreneur. What do you want to be when you grow up? Often we ask ourselves that question. What do I want to be when I grow up? How old were you when you really figured out that either A, you grew up, or B, you're still growing up? I'll leave it with that. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I love that, because to me, it makes me think of, we talk a lot about, regrets, and how do you, not living, as Samantha says, in the rearview mirror. So when you go to sleep at night, are you proud of what you've accomplished for yourself personally and professionally to date? How do you feel about it? Are you going to, you know, cheat, continue to cheat yourself out of the life of your dreams? How can you make changes and introduce people and opportunities into your life that can, make you feel good about the decisions that you're making, make you feel good about the accomplishments that you're taking on and how you're showing up in your life, because how you show up in your life affects how you show up in other people's lives that you are in exchanges with on a regular basis. And I think that's one of the things is, if we look down the road, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, how, when we're going to sleep at night, we wake up in the morning, we're looking in the mirror, the only person that's going to be looking back, I shouldn't say looking, I don't know who you're looking in the mirror with. There could be more eyes, but we for sure know and could agree that at least two of those eyes are going to be your own. So when you're looking back at yourself in the mirror, how do you visualize that? And what can we do now? What can you implement now to ensure that the person you see staring back at you in the mirror, 6 months from now, 3 years from now, 10 years from now, is someone you can be proud of and really feel good that you haven't cheated yourself out of opportunities and how you want to show up for yourself and for others. I think when if we take the time to look at that, it's a very powerful change within ourselves, that we can, feel the opposite. I don't know. I don't really know what I was going to say, but going to bed and being one person and waking up as one person when you really feel like you are somebody else, there's a way to change that and things can be done. So, I don't know. Lots to go along with that.
Dude, yeah, I like how you said it. Are you doing the things that you wanted to do? Are you doing the things that your family wanted you to do? Your mother wanted you to be A. Your father wanted you to be A. You think you might want to be A. See, without coaching, without inspiration, without that person moving you to that next level, you tend to stay comfortable. I know I did. When I finally grew up to figure out what it is that I really wanted to do. Yes, I've done that, but guess what? I had to have the right person to gauge me in that. I didn't know how to get to the next step. There's a song by a group and they say, how do you know when you get to the end of the road or the fork of the road? Where do you go? What does that look like? Do you go left? Do you go right? Do you go back? Do you go forth? Earl Nightingale once says, people with goals succeed because they know where they're going. But when you don't know where you're going, you get there real fast.
I have to jump in super quick because I think it's fair to say for the percentage of the population on the earth, we're taught to be realistic. We're taught not to expect too much out of life. But there is a ton that we can expect out of life and make happen for ourselves. And that it goes back to both of you who talked about it here today, the strong mindset, what a powerful base that is for everything we do. It is, it's an essential base for our personal growth and our personal success. Yeah, I don't know. I think, I don't think any parents or anybody off cuff sets out to, drill negative thoughts into ourselves and into our kids, into the generations that we're teaching or you're coaching. But that's it. Where, your mention of being comfortable, people are very careful. What if we weren't, what if we were just a little less careful? Not unsafe, but if we were a little less careful, a little more idealistic, dreamy, and you know, limitless thoughts to drive us.
Go ahead, Samantha.
I like what you're saying. I think that we often we definitely put roadblocks in the way, and we have these expectations of ourselves that are very unrealistic. That's also a problem. You shouldn't limit yourself, but we have to look at ourselves and understand, that we're doing these things. We need to be aware that we are the roadblock. We are the person that's causing the fear that's probably not even real. And we don't experience everything that we can in life because we think, oh, what if, or what, we think the worst. It's just it's easy to be negative. It's hard to be positive, right? You have to work at being positive, right? When you look at a person's facial expression, the automatic expression isn't to smile. You have to work to smile. It takes a lot of muscles to smile. Whereas to frown or have a straight face, it's easy. It's easy. It's just like being negative, right? So I think that you really have to sit with yourself. And I always say this, I sit with myself and I wonder, why do I feel crappy today? Well, I feel crappy today because I chose to feel that way, right? Everything is a choice, I think. And if it's not a choice that's within your control, you have to think, is it worth it? Is it something that is worth taking a risk on? Or is it something that it's not going to benefit my life in a positive way? I need to cut it out. So really, understanding that it starts with that. You have to, again, this topic is very, very hard to talk about because really it's just nothing in life is easy, right? Nothing in life that's worth it is easy. So you have to be willing and commit to living the best life you can for yourself, right? That's what it is. It's a commitment to yourself that you will work by whatever means to be the best version of yourself. And it's for you, right? It doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter, if someone's going to judge you. You just have to come at it from the perspective of people are going to say things. People are not going to like that you're not following them, or that you may not have a popular opinion, or that you may show up to an event in a specific way, but it doesn't matter. And I think that's the biggest thing, that you have to hype yourself up and know that. And that's what I try to do, because it's scary for me to go to events. I talked about it before. It's scary for me now to show up in person because I don't know what people are going to say about me. But I make sure that I hype myself up ahead of time. And I say to myself, it doesn't matter. I'm going here to have fun, and that's it. So you have to understand what you need in your life. If you don't know, it's okay. You're not going to know, but you have to try. And then once you realize it, heck, do it 100 times over, because those are the things that are going to keep you positive. It's going to keep you going. Cut out the negative.
I really love that, because my partner is saying something, but I'm going to give you a different perspective of it, because she says it's not easy. Here's a funny thing. Let me ask her the question. Samantha, Professor Glass, did you imagine when you were growing up that you would be doing a television show?
No. Did
you imagine me and Kelly sitting on the side of you saying, we're going to talk about personal development?
Absolutely not.
What has happened in our lifetime is sometimes you get what you have put in, but you didn't know that it was coming. Mm-hmm. If it had not been for people before us using their voices, we wouldn't be here. We had to use our voices to actually understand it. You know what? We have something to say to the world, and we're going to give them our best effort from our experiences, the books that we've read, the things that we've talked about. You all don't understand. Samantha told the world, I am not a speaker. Told them. Said it, meant every word that she said.
She's awesome.
But yet she is on showing you with personal development that I can speak to it. She has proven it every time. It's just the way that you see yourself, the way that you see things are deceiving sometimes. That's why she says, always be the best version of yourself. Because when you show up, you show out. Exactly. You have to show up. You have to get into the game in order for everybody to see and really understand, what is it out of life that I want to give? And out of my experiences, how do I want to show someone else you too could be sitting right here.
Right.
So as we normally say here, ladies, our final thoughts.
Final thoughts. All right. This inspiration is from by Marianne Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small c does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, just as children do. It's not just in some of us. It is in every one of us. As we let our own lights shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the exact same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically will liberate everyone else.
That's amazing.
Professor?
I'm simply going to say it's more than okay to just be you. And that's what this is about. It's more than okay. People say, oh, it's okay, I'm just me. No, you are amazing. You are great. And you have to tell yourself that, and you have to work and commit to yourself that you're going to keep filling your mind with positivity. That's what you have to do, because look, life is a roller coaster. We know that. Expect it to be. Expect there to be negative, but be ready to battle the negative. Be ready with all of the things that you're learning in personal development to be the best version of yourself.
Earl Nightingale once said these words: never give up on a dream, because it will take time to accomplish it. The time will pass away. Stop looking at how long it takes you to get where you want to. That has nothing to do with you. You can't speed up time, nor can you slow it down, but you can use the time that you have been given. So until the next time, we will see you. Make sure that you like, you share, have the conversation.